Charles Spurgeon was a prominent preacher in the 19th century, known for his passionate and thought-provoking sermons. But among his many powerful messages, there's one that stands out as particularly remarkable. This sermon, often regarded as his most powerful, has had a profound impact on Christian thought and continues to resonate with believers to this day. So what makes this sermon so special? Why is it considered Spurgeon's most powerful? Let's explore that together. One reason this sermon stands out is because of the extraordinary circumstances in which it was delivered. Spurgeon was a master of weaving together scripture, personal anecdote, and cultural relevance to create sermons that spoke directly to the hearts of his listeners. And in this particular sermon, he tackles some of the biggest challenges facing Christians during his time, making it a powerful call to faith in the face of adversity. Throughout his ministry, Spurgeon faced many critics and challenges, but he never wavered in his commitment to preaching the gospel. And in this sermon, he addresses some of the most pressing issues of his day, from the role of the church in society to the importance of personal holiness. It's a powerful reminder that, even in the face of opposition, the message of Christ remains unchanged. Spurgeon's life and ministry were marked by a deep commitment to biblical truth and a passion for sharing the gospel with others. He was a prolific preacher and writer, and his sermons continue to inspire and challenge Christians to this day. So, as we dive into this particular sermon, we'll see how Spurgeon's life and ministry influenced his message and gave it a depth and richness that continues to resonate with us today. Growing up in a Christian family, Spurgeon was exposed to the scriptures from a young age, and he developed a deep love for the Bible that would stay with him throughout his life. He was a voracious student, devouring books on theology, history, and literature, and his broad range of interests and influences informed his preaching in profound ways. As we explore this sermon, we'll see how Spurgeon's love for Scripture and his commitment to biblical truth shaped his message and gave it a power and relevance that continues to inspire us today. Spurgeon's ministry took place during a time of great change and upheaval in Britain and beyond. The Industrial Revolution was transforming the economy, and the church was grappling with its role in society. It was a time of great challenge and opportunity, and Spurgeon's preaching reflects his deep commitment to the gospel and his passion for sharing it with others. As we look at this sermon, we'll see how Spurgeon addressed the challenges of his day and how his message continues to speak to us today. Spurgeon's sermon is a masterpiece of biblical exposition, weaving together scripture, personal anecdote, and cultural relevance to create a message that is both timeless and timely. He tackles some of the biggest issues facing Christians, from the nature of salvation to the role of the church in society, and he does it with a passion and conviction that is infectious. At the heart of Spurgeon's sermon is a deep commitment to the gospel and a passion for sharing it with others. He is unapologetic in his presentation of the message, but he is also deeply compassionate, recognizing that the gospel is a message of hope and redemption for all people. As we explore this sermon, we'll see how Spurgeon's commitment to the gospel shapes his message and gives it a power and relevance that continues to inspire us today. Spurgeon's message is not just about individual salvation, but about the transformation of society. He recognizes that the gospel has the power to change not just individual lives, but the very fabric of society itself. And he calls his listeners to be agents of that change, to be salt and light in a world that desperately needs it. Throughout the sermon, Spurgeon uses vivid imagery and powerful storytelling to drive home his points. He is a master of the pulpit, able to weave together complex theological concepts with everyday illustrations that make the message accessible to all. One of the most striking aspects of Spurgeon's sermon is his willingness to tackle tough topics head-on. He doesn't shy away from controversy, but instead, he addresses it directly, using scripture to guide his listeners and to challenge their thinking. Spurgeon's message is not just about information, but about transformation. He is not just seeking to educate his listeners, but to inspire them to action, to encourage them to live out their faith in a way that honors God. As we explore this sermon, we'll see how Spurgeon's passion for the gospel and his commitment to biblical truth shape his message and give it a power and relevance that continues to inspire us today. In Spurgeon's sermon, we see a powerful call to faith in the face of adversity. He recognizes that the Christian life is not easy, but he also knows that it is worth it. And he calls his listeners to persevere, to stand strong in their faith, even when the going gets tough. Spurgeon's message is not just about individual perseverance, but about the power of community. He recognizes that the church is not just a collection of individuals, but a body of believers united in their love for God and their commitment to one another. As we look at the sermon, we'll see how Spurgeon addresses the challenges of his day, from the role of the church in society to the importance of personal holiness. And we'll see how his message continues to speak to us today, inspiring us to live out our faith in a way that honors God. Spurgeon's sermon is a powerful reminder that the gospel is a message of hope and redemption for all people. It's a message that has the power to transform lives and societies, and it's a message that continues to resonate with us today. Spurgeon's teachings have not been without controversy, however. Some have criticized his Calvinist theology, while others have taken issue with his views on baptism and church government. But despite these criticisms, Spurgeon remains one of the most influential Christian leaders of the past century, and his teachings continue to inspire and challenge believers around the world. In many ways, Spurgeon's sermon is a reflection of his own life and ministry. It's a sermon that is deeply personal, reflecting his own struggles and doubts, but also his own commitment to the gospel and his passion for sharing it with others. As we explore this sermon, we'll see how Spurgeon's life and ministry informed his message and gave it a depth and richness that continues to resonate with us today. Despite the challenges and criticisms he faced, Spurgeon remained committed to his message and to his calling. And as we look at this sermon, we'll see how his commitment to the gospel shaped his message and gave it a power and relevance that continues to inspire us today. Spurgeon's sermon has had a profound impact on Christian thought, inspiring generations of believers to live out their faith in a way that honors God. And as we look at this sermon, we'll see how its themes and messages continue to resonate with us today, inspiring us to live out our faith with authenticity and passion. The legacy of this sermon extends far beyond the walls of Spurgeon's church, inspiring believers around the world to live out their faith with courage and conviction. And as we explore this sermon, we'll see how its themes and messages continue to shape Christian thought and inspire believers today. Spurgeon's sermon is a powerful reminder of the importance of living out our faith in a way that honors God. It's a sermon that challenges us to be more than just Sunday Christians, but to be followers of Jesus who live out our faith every day. As we conclude our exploration of Spurgeon's most powerful sermon, let's take a moment to reflect on the impact it's had on Christian thought and on our own lives. Let's remember the key themes and messages that have resonated with us, and let's commit to living out our faith in a way that honors God. I hope you've enjoyed this exploration of Spurgeon's most powerful sermon. If you have, be sure to like and subscribe for more content on influential sermons and Christian figures. And if you have any thoughts or insights you'd like to share, please leave them in the comments below. Thanks for watching.